Now, the youngest man in Britain to have developed breast cancer has died from the disease at the age of 28.
Nick Avery from Southend was diagnosed when he was just 24 and over the past 4 years had campaigned to encourage men to be more aware of it. Rags Martel reports.
He was the youngest man in Britain to be diagnosed with breast cancer. This week, Nicky Avery lost his 4-year battle against the disease. But while alive, he was always positive about his fight for survival.
I'm always trying to look on the bright side of life, always laughing and that, you know, so I'm going to beat it and I'm going to be stronger. It's going to be all right.
Nicky was 24 when he got breast cancer. Last year he campaigned to raise awareness of the disease in men.
Men don't even know they could get it. When I speak to men and say I had breast cancer, I'm the youngest male to be diagnosed with it, they still sometimes don't believe me. They're like, breast cancer? How do you get breast cancer?
Nicky was always keen to show the scars of his mastectomy. He also wanted people to call it chest cancer to help men check themselves. Male breast cancer is rare. The risk is just 1 in 1,000 for a man developing it in his lifetime. Every year, 300 men are diagnosed with the disease, compared to about 45,000 cases in women.
If a man has a lump or a bump on his chest, or he has some discharge from his nipple, or a sore that won't heal, or a lump under his armpit, those could be symptoms of breast cancer. And I think as men, if we have any sort of symptom, whether it's a lump or a bump or weight loss or anything like that, we should always go to the doctor. Men are notorious for not going to the doctor early enough when they've got symptoms that maybe something could be done about.
Chris Osborne was one of Nicky's close friends. He flew back from Southeast Asia in time to visit him in hospital the day before he died.
And he was still Nicky. He was, you know, you could tell he wasn't well, but he was still Nicky. He was still laughing and joking and smiling and listening to music. You know, all of the words that I would have described Nicky 10 years ago. You know, he hadn't changed, his values had stayed the same, just a real character.
Nicky was told he'd beaten the disease in 2007, but the cancer returned last year. In April, he married the love of his life, Cheryl, a marriage that lasted 3 months. Rags Martel, London Tonight.
The end of a very brave fight there. Right, it's coming up to 20 minutes past 6. You're watching Anglia Tonight. Sport that's gaining in popularity around the country.
Free runners use street furniture as an obstacle course, even jumping from building to building in a bid to cover the ground as efficiently as possible. Well,
you won't be surprised to hear then that it can be extremely dangerous, but despite that, it's particularly popular in Cambridge, and that's causing problems for some of the people who live there, as Emma Baker now reports.
Some say it's an art, others call it a dangerous nuisance. Whatever your views, one thing's for sure, Cambridge is fast on its way to becoming a free-running capital.
It has a variation of obstacles, you know, like rails, walls and stuff, and the architecture itself is just, it's not only is it incredible to look at, you know, which obviously to us is quite an interesting thing, but also incredible to climb.
Free running, or parkour as it's also known, is a form of urban acrobatics. It's a non-competitive sport where participants aim to overcome obstacles in their path in an efficient and creative way. It's thought it originated from a training exercise used by the French military in the late 19th century. Today's top free runner is Sebastien Foucan, who's gone on to do stunt work on films such as Casino Royale. Kai is one of a number of free runners in Cambridge who's put videos of his work on the web. Now people come from around the world. These Swiss friends have made the trip especially for the free running experience. But while they've got permission from the person living at this property, not all free runners are as considerate. This is one residential area in Cambridge where the free runners haven't been welcomed. The residents say a group of youngsters come here on a regular basis to practice their skills. But the people living here say it's making their lives a misery.
What they do is clever. I'm not denying that. But it's in my back garden as such. When I want to read a book or chill out, the sun's out, sit there with a cuppa, I just can't do it because I've got 15 or 20 ewes bouncing about and thudding into the property, which reverberates right the way through.
The City Council has become so concerned about the situation it's now working to open a special park specifically designed for this sport.
This will not be, reiterate, not be jumping off tall buildings, but it will provide many of the facilities that they need in order to practice this art. And I think if you have seen it, it is very skillful, and it's something which is here with us. We've got to accommodate it in some way.
The council's hoping the facility will not only make life easier for residents, but also allow the free runners to continue enjoying their sport in a far safer environment. Emma Baker, Anglia News, Cambridge.
Well, the facility should certainly help. I'm looking at that last shot, clearly dangerous. You've got to be very careful. But what did you think of it?
I keep looking for strings. It's just, it seems amazing they can do it. You have to be young, don't you?
I'm afraid you do, actually, yes. I won't just be taking to it.
Giving it a go.
I know, I have to look at a curve nowadays and I pull a muscle, unfortunately. Of course, it gets a reminder, doesn't it? If you are going to try free running, do be very considerate and also extremely careful. There are injuries to be involved, I'm afraid.
Right, for the last time this week, let's catch up with what the national team have in store in just a couple of minutes. Now, we all know that come summertime there can be all sorts of bugs around, but in one part of Northamptonshire there are a few bugs with a difference buzzing about this evening.
Yes, Europe's largest gathering of VW Beatles, an event known as Bug Jam. It got underway today. Lauren Carter went along to find out more on that.
Beep, 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 yeah. They come in all different shapes, sizes and colours, but they do have one thing in common. This is Europe's largest gathering of Volkswagen Beatles. They've been driven to the Santapod Raceway in Northamptonshire for the Bug Jam, an event which happens every year and attracts all sorts of people.
From the real festival people to the bank manager who's got a lovely old car, and the great thing is they rub shoulders both in the social areas. You get every kind of person possible in the spectrum will be here all weekend.
Of course, to some people, these are just cars and camper vans, but they mean a lot more to their owners.
This is Flo. We've been coming here for 3 years now, and she loves it because she loves meeting all the other Beatles, V-dubs, and her best saying is dubbing it, loving it.
This is Katie. She's 42 years old, and she comes here every year.
We call it Shuggy. It's a man's car, not a woman's car.
But I think it's a woman's car.
She's unique, she's mine, that's why she's special. I love her to bits.
Does she have a name?
No name, just pride and joy.
The event is so popular, it's attracted people from all over the world.
We've travelled from France, Paris, to make the first passes with the new race car. We don't have too much event in France, and we don't have good track like here.
The Bug Jam is one of the biggest events in our region. This weekend it's expected to attract 35,000 people. A chance for them to show off their cars and admire other people's.
And that's certain to keep them busy all weekend. Lauren Carter, Anglia News, Northamptonshire.
Great event.
What is it about old VWs that people love so much? Get so attached to them.
They really do. I don't know what it is. I love the way they give them names and everything.
They're beautiful cars.
Yeah. Do you have a favourite or not?
Yeah, that mint green camper van.
Did you?
Right at the beginning.
I like the one with the huge tent and hopefully the bath and the shower and everything attached to it.
No, I don't think so.
Now, did you or your children start your summer holidays today?
Most of the region's schools broke up this afternoon. So what is the weather going to do?
Yeah,
well, Rachel is here to tell us. Rachel, loads going on this weekend, but are we going to stay dry?
Well, today has been mainly dry. There have been some darker clouds around and the odd heavier shower, but as the summer holidays get underway in earnest, well, things should be mainly dry. And of course, there's lots going on across the region to keep mum, dad and kids entertained. So on Saturday, which is mainly dry and settled in Northamptonshire, well, there's a Silverstone Classic. Now, this is one of the largest classic motor racing events in the world, and there's going to be some live music there tonight and indeed tomorrow. So if you're in the Ipswich area and you're aged between 10 and 18 and you fancy some free water sports, well, make sure you get down to the waterfront in Ipswich tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. And then in the Cambridge area, well, for one day only, the lawns of Cambridge's Fitzwilliam Museum are going to take on a festival atmosphere to celebrate Chinese culture. And then there's a little bit more rain around on Sunday. So if you're in Norfolk and you're planning to go to the second Holt Summer Festival, well, do make sure that you pack the brolly. So there's lots going on across the region this weekend. This is just a taster. So let's take a look at that all-important weather forecast in a little bit more detail.
Oh, that's not a bad forecast, is it? A few light showers.
It's always lovely across the east, isn't it? You're just starting your holidays. Have a great time. Yeah. That's it from this week, though. We'll see you again next week. Have a lovely weekend.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.